cool. All right, we're live. So welcome everyone to another Run Wild with us. You can ask us anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and CEO of Running Wild, which consists of 5 imprints. And I am here with some of our amazing editors and acquisition editors with you on Thursdays from at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the whole purpose of this is that you can ask us whatever the heck you want. So all you have to do is go into the comments section of whatever venue you're watching this and type in your questions. I will repeat them, and then we'll take turns responding to them. So with that, how are you doing, Cecilia?
I'm doing good. I'm catching up on projects, kind of taking a little bit of a breather this week, but still, it's still busy with things in the background.
Mm.
There were I got a lot of rejections this week for stories that I submitted, so I am
Oh, wow.
resubmitting stories. I resubmitted 6 today to different magazines. And then Flash Fiction Magazine is starting another contest. So
Mhm.
I'll be helping to judge that contest. And I think it started today. And we did something new. We put in our bios things that we like to read. So, of course, I put in there the horror. So if someone chooses me as an editor and they have a horror story, then they're in the right place. so, so that was something that I'm working on right now.
Mhm.
Since May, I've also been volunteering as a social media, I guess, editor, or just a volunteer for Literary Mama magazine,
Oh,
and so
fun.
that's been fun to put together engagement posts. And I'm learning a little bit about video and video editing. Very small steps, but it's really fun and I love it. And then I also just thought of a conference that I forgot to mention last week, Right on the Sound. If you're in Snohomish County, Edmonds, Puget Sound area, sometime in October, they have a writers conference and it's really fun. Rick Steves presented at one year. So
Oh,
that's a
fun.
really cool conference. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Good Lord, woman. Thank Wow, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. Well, so this week I had a lot of calls with like, "Hey, Ben, yay!"
Yay.
Uh, I had a lot of calls with like authors and or their publicists
Oh, wow.
wanting to know like, okay, what should they focus on? What do they need to do? All that kind of thing. So that was neat. And actually, my overarching message to them all was, please don't ping me every day. Can you like pile all your questions in a nice little package, and then you're welcome to set up time with me, or send me an email. But understand, we have confirmed, I think, 258 books that are listed in our catalog just with IPG. So that doesn't include all the ones we acquired necessarily for 2026. It's just the ones that are done for 2026, right? So I'm like, now take that and then add to it, well, like we have anthologies with multiple authors, right? So i.e., I can't be on the phone with everybody all the time, right? I still have responsibilities. And it was cute. Like the publicists got it, right? Like and the authors seemed disappointed, and I was like, like I get it, but because I'm an author too, right? Like I understand, but still, it's like it's just not reasonable, you know. So what else? I was asked to judge something that I don't remember right now, because I'll remember it when I get the submissions. And then I leave on Sunday for IPG sales conference. Oh, so for anyone who's watching or who's watching in the future, and by the way, Ben, so the number here, it's not the same number like it was in StreamYard. This is just who's watching it from the Vimeo direct link. that's not the number of people necessarily watching through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So it's kind of misleading, but it's like, well, it is what it is. So, um,
I don't know
anyway,
that.
I know it's not incredibly helpful. So where was I going with this? Oh, so I leave on I sent the deck out to the head of sales, and he loved it. So that's cool. And what I did is so whenever we do a sales deck, it's for the books that are coming out within that time frame, right? So for the next week's sales conference, which is always in person, it's considered the spring catalog, and that means all books from January to the end of April of that year. So for us, that's 14 books. I'm just saying. So far. And what we do is we all work on a deck that has a combination of like highlights of the book, why someone should buy it, highlights of the author, um, any books that we're going to feature for that not quarter, but third, I guess. Um, I ask the authors to give me a video of like what inspired them to do whatever it is, right? Um, and then I also asked Ben and Peter and James to provide like what inspired you to create your imprint. I'm just looking to see if no, Peter hasn't messaged me yet, so okay. I think that's good so far. Then I resent Peter his link just to be safe. So
Because
so and then this time, because we always do this every year, we actually have our authors fill out a publicity questionnaire. And the purpose of that is to get a feel for like where do they have representation? If they have anything local that like any local booksellers or any cool, yay, Peter made it. Like do we and it's all the kind of information that in all honesty a salesperson's going to need when they go out to talk to the different retailers and buyers. So I created links to all of the questionnaires that authors filled out, so that the sales team will have it. Like if they want to just go, if there's something really strikes a chord for them, we can just go to that questionnaire, research, find out what's up with the author, where they have influence or not, if all that kind of thing, and then take it from there. So that deck usually takes me around 3 to 5 days to make, because it's a lot of going over it and going over it and going over it and going over it and going over it just to make sure it's solid, um and then so I leave for the sales conference on Sunday, and my flight is at 5 a.m. So I have to get up at 3 a.m., which I am not. It's yeah, that's gonna hurt. And then I go right from the sales conference to San Diego Comic-Con, and I am on 2 panels at Comic-Con. And one of our authors, I can't talk about this too much, but let's just say it's going to be a big deal. So one of our authors is going to be featured on a very high profile panel. So the individual is super excited about it, and I'm really I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to check it out. So and then there's just like a ton of other things. Like I'm in the middle of editing a novella anthology, a short story anthology, um, I think a memoir, and then my own work. So I'm tired. I don't know. So Ben, what have you been up to, young man? You're always so lazy. I mean,
Nothing.
liar.
I'm about halfway through the memoir. Oh, should when I get halfway, I usually get the author to start following me through. So I finish it and I can circle back around, and we're about half a book behind each other
Oh
in
wow.
both the run throughs.
Does
So
that
I'm
work?
about halfway through to release it to the author. And then the Children of the Atomic Reservation,
Mhm.
uh, the author has that, making some good tightening changes for that. And I'll meet with him on Tuesday, face to face
Wow.
in a local Albuquerque restaurant. And we drink iced tea and watch people and talk about books.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait, is this Rodolfo or no?
yeah, that's Rodolfo.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and he's been working. He's actually I gave it to him with that was the one that had almost 1,000 line edits for him to consider, and he's
Wow.
gone through and tightened up a lot of it with just because he saw what I was doing and wanted to make it flow better anyway, and so he's making some author changes that have tightened up the story and the line and the storyline.
Oh wow.
It's a dystopian novel, so it's kind of free flowing anyway, but he's tightening it up.
Mhm.
Not to the point where we did his first book, where we broke it up into fragments. As it was a dystopian novel too, and we made it look like we found it in a scroll, which was
Cool.
kind of cool. Yeah, I said this is what we need to do. It's so poetic. Let's make it into fragments. He said we can do that. I said sure we can do that. Lisa won't care.
As long as it works. Let's just be
It worked. It worked.
as long as it works. If it doesn't work, I am gonna care and you are gonna care about it. So I'm just saying.
You wouldn't care. I didn't tell him that.
He knows
I
better.
said, yeah, I said let's try it and see how it looks on the page, and it took a lot of his free flowing sentences, and ultimately helped the reader because it was so much coming at the reader in a paragraph that it needed some breaks. And I said, well, let's make it, since it's in the future and it's very futuristic, let's make it look like we found it, and this is what we found. The
Yeah.
fragments that we found, let's put them together and make the story. And I said, yeah, I was wondering. That's a good idea. I said, okay, let's go with it.
I could totally see this conversation going. Anyone who's met Rodolfo, it's like Ben's
Yeah,
quoting. I'm just
but
saying.
this one, his follow up novel to that one is it's a little bit more character driven,
Mm.
and there's some recurring characters that come through, but they're still facing a changing world that he pulls off really well. He sees the world changing. And he's from an old Albuquerque city up in Espanola,
Mhm.
and now it's a different place even for New Mexico. It's a different place, and a lot of culture, a lot of history, and it filters into his writing.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
the
Wow.
continuation of that culture into the dystopian future is very well done.
All right. So Peter, what have you been up to, young man? And by the way, you still owe us a novel, right?
I know. I'm working on it.
I'm
I'm
just
working
saying.
on it. But
Okay.
other than that, nothing. It's summer. Not editing anything. Got nothing on my plate.
Liar.
I'm almost done with the Drexel Award winners novel.
Oh, cool.
So Bright Shiny Things. I've got Curtis's collection of short stories to go to. Got to revisit the headmistress story, Brooke, who author is thinking of changing the title, which I absolutely disagree with. But that's it's her book, it's her baby, it's fine. And then I've got another one waiting in the wings for me. I don't know anything about it, but the first few pages I've read are fantastic. So I'm really
Yay.
excited to look through that. listened to Ben's comment about the 1,000 edits, and I'm like, I'm coming awful damn close to that with this the book I'm working on right now, because there's a lot of elements of craft that the author just doesn't know yet or doesn't understand. I mean, in terms of tension and keeping the plot moving and not being so cerebral or all backstory all the time. So I think I'm going to have to do another sit down with him, an online conference, and just say, look, there's a lot of issues that can be cleaned up. There's a lot of potential there, but he just misses so much. He or she or whoever misses so much in this draft that it's like, I really want him really want them to bring the tension to the forefront. You know that mistake that every early writer makes is that they hold back the secret, they hold back the plot point. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I'm not good enough for this. I can't do this. It's like, okay, why? You can't tell us on page 275 what the issue is. You need to tell us on page 2 what the issue is, if not page 1, so we know what's going on, what the conflict is all about. Mm-hmm. So, and this happens throughout the story. So it's just something that I really want to flesh out with the author, to give them the sense that, that's not the way to hold a reader's attention. The reader holds attention is give them something to care about and then explain why it matters. And I think I touched on this last week when I finally got online, my computer thing, whatever. But no, I really want to convey this knowledge to the author, because I was in his shoes or her shoes, whoever, back when I was first starting out or first did my MFA program. So there's potential there. So I really want to work with them on this. Mm. So.
Wow, that's a lot.
But other than that,
I actually for the benefit anthology, the short story benefit anthology, for the LA wildfires. Man, I'd say the majority of these stories are super clean. I mean, really minor, teensy weensy line edits that but I mean, they're really solid. So yeah, so we accepted 26. I think I'm through about 10 so far, something like that. So yeah, so that was a pleasant surprise. And I reprioritized that to be that's what I'm focused on right now, and then I'll go back to the anthology because the one memoir that I'm editing, the author, it's basically a memoir and essays, and he wanted to add an essay, and I was like, yeah, sure, because it's honestly it's a bit on the short side, and he did what every author does, right? You're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever written in my entire life. And then I'm like, did anybody else read this? Well, no, because I know it's fabulous. And I was like, uh-oh. And every single author who has ever been in existence does this, right? It's like, I just wrote it. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
And then you hand it off, and the other person's like, I don't even know what is this? Like, I don't know what am I reading? I don't even understand. Like, where's the storyline? What is it? So the poor man, I just ended up, instead of editing it, just sent him a note saying, okay, look, I need you to look at it from this perspective, and I need you to analyze it from this perspective and do a revision with these things in mind. Mm-hmm. Right. So we'll see. I mean, I did still have a lot of comments within the essay, and because I use sorry, I'm like getting all these messages. Because I use Google Docs, I'll see when someone accepts or declines, like, recommendations. And I don't know if he just declined everything like haphazardly, or if, like he declined it so it wouldn't be on the page anymore, and then, went into revisions, but I guess I'll find out. So, but I have another author who's really wants to start working on his memoir, and I finally just said, okay, I love you, but you can't keep messaging me. This is not going to get me to start working on your memoir faster, right? Setting up time with me is not going to get me to work on your memoir faster. Emailing me all the time is not going to get me to work on your memoir. You've got to let me actually work on the things I'm trying to complete now so that they're done. And then that'll enable me to get to working on your piece faster. So I think he heard it, and has I haven't heard from him since then. So which I honestly view as a positive, because sometimes it's like, okay, look, please stop doing this.
What you're doing, don't do that anymore. Right.
Right. Exactly. Like, we love you. We accepted your piece for a reason, but no.
Go back to your corner and close the door.
Wait for us to call.
And then yesterday I was asked to do record an interview for I think it's Temecula Writers and Editors Guild. So they asked actually really great questions about like different forms of publishing, and like why you should pick one versus another, that all that kind of thing. So out of curiosity, among self-published, hybrid, which just means you worked with a publisher that you paid some percentage of, the costs to actually get the book to market, and regular publishing, which includes small, mid-size, and big press. Among all those, what ones have you guys done, and like why did you choose to do that, if that makes sense?
I've just been doing small presses. I have been doing so many flash fiction stories in the horror genre that I just put them together. And for many years, I was blogging, and there's this nice community of bloggers. We all follow one another. We leave supportive comments on each other's blogs. They might not have anything to do with the books that we're writing. Mine's just a humor column on home repair that I can't do, and cooking and crafts. But then you befriend other authors in other areas, and some of those authors started their own presses. When I found out, I was like, oh, I got something for you. Do you want it? And then they do. Amazingly enough, they did want it. They did want my collection of horror. And so I've done independent, well, just like small presses. And so you're working directly with the editor. You're in good hands. Your editor cares. You're given choices of what the cover is going to look like. They've just graciously done all the work. I've never paid a cent. They've done all the work for me in terms of just like putting the book together. And, I have to do my own advertising. Everybody does. But you make sure you sell it. But I, and I get some royalties for whatever we sell. Usually it's like 50-50, something in there. And it's just been a joy to work with them. So the small presses, I just automatically have gone to them. And I've found them through just writing and networking with people.
Cool. Peter, how about you?
I've mostly gone the traditional route, with small presses, obviously, a couple literary magazines. I just never believed in self-publishing because I want those other eyes on the novel or the manuscript or the story. I want the editor's input. I want publishers' input because they have far more experience at the business than I do even at this stage. So I want that sort of input, and I want the marketing machine behind it. I've got my own resources, obviously, but I still want the power of the press, the known entity, to be a part of the process for me, because I'm just a small fish in the ocean at this point. So I need as much assistance and guidance as possible. So I don't decry self-publishing or the hybrid mode, the collaborative mode. I just don't personally. I wouldn't choose to do it.
Mm. And how about you, Ben? I know you've experimented a bit.
With
I
books.
started, 18 years ago, there it was.
Clarification.
All right.
And, I had a collection of poems, kind of. And I just retired from the Coast Guard, and it was kind of a retirement gift to have it published. So I self published it through. It ended up being Create Space, if you're familiar with that. It wasn't at the time, but it is now. And I wouldn't do it again. Some of the reasons Peter just mentioned, they're just it's okay. You tell us it's good. It's good. Let's do it. Send us your money. And I didn't even like the cover that they did necessarily. They weren't getting the nuance of the cover I was looking for. They heard what I said, but they interpreted it in a whole different way. And then as a poet, though, I've had the advantage of sending single poems to journals and seeing, what do journals like. If journals like it, a small publisher may like the collection, and so put it all back together and submit it as a whole. So that's been where it's been most of the time. The e-novel was Peter thinks it's my girlfriend in England, but it really was a publisher. They published it in England as an e-novel, but it was good to have it picked up. And I was going through the MFA program in Tampa by then, and I asked the advisors, what do you think about an e-novel? And they said, anytime you can get your work out, get it out. And if it suits your situation and your timing and everything, and it gets done, call it victory, celebrate it. And so that was the publication through the e-novel. It had a 5-year run and is out of publication now. But then the small press, some things about the small press, so you really want to check them out, because I published a book with a small press that the publisher was in it for all the right reasons. And he liked the story. He liked it was a series of poems, and he liked them. He liked the idea behind it. He liked the writing. He liked everything about it. But he was a small publisher and just didn't really have the time to maintain the effort. And he disappeared for a while. I haven't heard from him since, but it just wasn't the same. He had lost a lot of energy because I think he got a dose of his own reality. So you want to check those small presses out and make sure they understand the world they're working in. I don't think he really did, but so the small press since then.
Got it. I've done self and traditional, and I did self just because that was around the time that Amazon first had that platform, and I thought, well, I actually had an art major when I was in high school, believe it or not. So I'm very familiar with like what constitutes a solid design, and what would get people's attention, that kind of thing. And so I just thought, well, let me see. And it was just a novella, very literary. And I won't give away the ending to it. But anyway, so and I wanted to see, like, because I kept hearing like publicity is like, it's so easy, right? There's so much available to authors. So I thought, you know what? I also had a background in publicity and like marketing and all that, because I was like the head of PR for the Honor Society in one of my colleges, and so I knew in theory what was available, but I also knew and still know that everything's changing wildly. what is an effective way to get people's attention one week is not going to work the next week. And it's so also dependent on who the audience is and, what their interests are and, all that, the hundred other things. Anyway, long story short, I had fun pulling it together, but it's because I had all that background, right? Like I had that experience, but it was not, that whole sending the word out was not simple, and it was not necessarily easy. And that's when I realized how important it was to build your brand in today's world. And like every author I knew who was successful, stop doing that. I'm already tired. um, every author I knew who was successful all gave me the same advice. They were like, Lisa, you need to build a brand about you, right? A brand of you, and that people will then continue to follow and they'll continue to be interested in. And that's how you're going to sell books or anything, right? It doesn't have to be books, absolutely anything. And, honestly, the longer I'm in this world, the more I realize how 100% accurate it is, and how I see like those who have been really super successful. It's like a snowball, right? It's like your retirement account, right? 5% compound, day to day, that adds up, and I mean the same is true with as you're building your fan base. And it's anyway. So for me, that was a great learning experience. Would I do it again? No. I think the people who actually find a lot of benefit in self-publishing are they're writing nonfiction, right? They're writing like the how-tos and really it's the how-to and coaching books that are specialized, and because they tend to actually sell really well if you've got the right, again, you have the right positioning, you've got the right marketing and all that. And then beyond that, it's mostly been small and mid-sized publications that I've published with, whether it's short stories, essays, novellas. I've only published my books with us, but it's because honestly, like, I trust you guys. So if I'm going to have an editor, I want one of my own family to edit my work, because I know if I fuck up, you're going to tell me I fucked up, and I want that. I don't know that I would ever do hybrid. I think, for some people, it's a great thing, especially if you, I know a few people have found some success with it because they had books, and actually, Ben, you may want to keep this in mind. They had books that they published with a small publisher that went out of business, so the copyright reverted to them. So they just reissued it through a hybrid. So that way they got a professional cover design. It was professionally like a new professional cover design. They had an opportunity to do any edits they may have wanted to it, that kind of thing. But amongst us chickens, the hybrid publishers I've spoken to, and even some of the small presses I've talked to, like, I used to think that we weren't doing very well, which I still think we can do. I know we can do a ton more, right? I know we can sell a ton more. Because I know the quality of the work that we put out, right? And I have no doubt that we could have, huge sales. Just knowing what the stories that we've been putting out are just so tremendous. I mean, even named by well-known reviews as being completely reinventing their respective genres. I mean, that's insane to get that kind of review. that said, when I spoke to some other small presses and some other, well, no, we're not a hybrid, but to some of the hybrids, and we were comparing like what's the biggest sales numbers you've had for a book, we outpaced them by like 4 times.
Wow.
Ooh.
Good.
Our biggest seller, it's sold around, I want to say 8,500, 9,000 copies.
Wow.
And compare again, according to the other small and a small press and a hybrid, their biggest seller, if they were lucky, was close to 2,000. And in context, again, the books that make like the New York Times bestseller list, it has to sell at least 6,000 in a week in one format, whether it be paperback or hardback or ebook, to make the oh man, USA Today, the USA Today list, it has to be 5,000 in 1 week, again in one format, right? So to me, that means we've got to keep pounding it, right? Like we can still, we absolutely can do it. I just had no idea that, comparatively speaking, how well we're doing when you look at some of the other like small publishers. So yeah, so it's, and Ben and Peter's both advice on, really do your homework. Seriously, do your homework, because so many small presses, I think the numbers are like 50% go out of business in the first year. And then of that 50%, the next 50% go out of business within the first 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, usually, if they stick around, they're gonna, they stick around for quite a while. So, first look at that. How long have they been around, and see if these are people you even want to work with. And also see like if I actually, we've had some authors who reached out to me when we made them an offer and said, like, I want to reach out to some of the authors that you've already published. I said, go for it. Here's our entire catalog. Pick someone, tell them we made them an offer, and we made you an offer, and ask them their opinion, right? Like I don't want you working with us if you're not comfortable, So, so yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a really interesting question. And I want to say almost everybody I know nowadays has done at least 2, if not all 3 forms, right? Traditional, hybrid, and self. But one of her questions to me was also like, if you were going to go like the big publisher route, would you ever go big publishing? And I was like, yeah. But don't expect that you're going to make a whole lot of money. I mean, nowadays it's more so about what you're electing to publish and understanding how much that sells, and then taking it from there, instead of saying, I'm really passionate about whatever. You've got to look at it as a business instead of as, I'm passionate about doing great work, or I'm passionate about this structure or this format or whatever, So anyway, so that's my, she asked a lot of other great questions, but I feel like I've just spoken for like 15 minutes and I'm getting tired of listening to myself. So I don't know. Do you guys have any topics that you want to talk about?
I had this book recommended to me. You've probably heard of it. It was for editing and craft, and it's called Thrill Me by Benjamin Percy. And one of the chapters that I like, there are many chapters I liked. I liked the book, was called Get a Job. And it's like giving your characters a job, because you see point of view through that character, and often the job that they do offers another perspective. And at least in this culture, we identify with work so much. So what's the most interesting job you've ever seen a character do?
Oh my.
Hmm.
That is a great question.
Right now, I'm reading nonfiction. I'm reading Chasing Shadows by Dr. Greg Scommel, I think it is. So he's a shark expert. He's on the Discovery Channel and everything. And so I love his job because it's so far removed from something I'd ever do. I would not actually get into a cage and try to encounter a shark on purpose. But he like
I made a
built
movie
one.
about that, you know.
He builds cages. He will dissect sharks and then also, advocate for protecting their habitat and for protecting them and whatnot. But just all the little day-to-day things that he does and the way that he describes his work and what he needs to do, it's so interesting. And I love that it's so far removed from anything that I would ever do. It's a great escape for me.
Wow, that's such a great question. I mean, I'm reading James by Percival Everett, so I don't know that I would call. Well, I mean, I would. It's just written from the perspective of the character James in uh. Dang, damn it! I hate when my brain does this to me.
The book I'm reading, the main character is a scribe in like the 15th century who's translating great works onto scrolls for preservation and for to hand out to sell to people so they can read them.
Wow.
It's really interesting.
I'm also reading a graphic novel that's actually a memoir, and the characters in it are primarily journalists. So I don't know that counts.
Sure. Yeah, it's a different kind of writing. Yeah.
Mhm. Sorry, I'm like looking up books I've published. I've read recently to kind of like refresh my memory.
I had seen the movie with James Dean, East of Eden, before I read the book. And then when I read the book, one of the most interesting characters in the book is Mr. Lee, the Chinese housekeeper. And he's not in the movie at all. Which is really disappointing. Of course, you got to look at the context and the timing of the movie and what's going on in society. But Mr. Lee in East of Eden was just a housekeeper, but he was there, and he what he sees and through his perspective is very interesting addition to what the characters are doing. Of course, it's a lot longer. The book covers a lot more time than the movie ever did, anyway. But right now, I'm reading The Mad Women of Paris by Jennifer Epstein, and I don't recommend it because it's really kind of slow and and a lot of stuff you can skim through. The stuff we tell our writers not to do. But the main character, the narrator, is an assistant in the Hysteria houses in Paris in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when psychology is getting really interested in conditions. In this case, the hysteria of women. And she had been a patient, but now she just stayed there to help and be an assistant to the nurses, and which is kind of an interesting perspective because she's seen both sides of it, and it's not pretty on either side.
That's interesting. Is it possible that the movie was from Mr. Lee's perspective, East of Eden, his point of view?
That'd be a stretch because it was made, with James Dean to make money, and not get, okay, James, do some method acting and we'll go from there. This feels like the East of Eden. Let's name it East of Eden. Let's get Steinbeck in here and say, hey, this is what we did. But because there's no Chinese character whatsoever in the town or in the household.
Right.
And so if it is, it's really not, because it's more from the James Dean character. The movie is.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah.
I had my James Dean phase, so I watched all those
Yeah.
movies.
You have to. It's a rule.
Yeah.
It is. Totally.
Interesting. I listened to Benjamin Percy speak at a writers' conference in Sanford a long time ago when I first started out. That man has the deepest voice I have ever heard.
Oh, really?
It's just really, really deep. It's amazing. I'm like, how do you do that, man?
I had a classmate at Tampa. He came in and had a reading at Tampa while we were there. And I had a classmate after the reading. He came up to me and said, "You know that voice? That's his money maker." I said, yes, it is.
He was actually one of my mentors at at Breadloaf, because I did both the regular and then they had an advanced thing, and he was one of the advanced mentors. So, yeah, he's got quite a presence. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There's a reason he gets around. So, and then one of the books I bought most recently was The Red Moon, which is actually about werewolves, believe it or not, and
Really?
how they it's actually multiple, it's intertwined narratives of people who live their like regular lives, and either they inadvertently find out they're a werewolf, or you as the reader inadvertently find out they're a werewolf. But it starts with someone who's on a plane, and I guess he basically changes on the plane without being able to control it. Yeah, exactly. Mm.
I hate it when that happens, when you're flying and all of a sudden
It's like it's like, what do you do with yourself? I don't know.
rush to be the first one off when the plane lands.
Yeah, that was the book he was reading from in 2015. at
Okay.
Tampa.
Got it. Yeah.
Just out, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
he's very solid. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just I was just to say the thing that is on my mind today is continuity. In terms of if a character is in a certain condition or state of his appearance is a certain way, in the next chapter when you show the character, you got to remember that he was in this condition before. So he's got to have some sort of shade of that condition in the next scene, because to completely eliminate, completely lose or forget about description or whatever like that, to not take that over, leaves out so much of the character's personal, I guess, performance or appearance in the book, because they're living people too, so they have to carry on what's going on with them from scene to scene, and the author needs to remember that so that they keep that continuity going, kind of thing. And I found that in a couple published books, but it's in a couple of the books I'm working on as well. So it's just something that I want. It's another thing. It's an element of craft that is easily overlooked because you're writing really in the moment. But that's what the second, third, fourth, and fifth drafts are about, is to go back and address these issues so it's a straight line with every character as they go through the narrative.
Yeah, and it's also why you need an editor. I mean,
Exactly.
period, right? Because no matter how many times you go through it and you think you caught everything, it's not shocking that you may have missed something.
Right.
So,
So that's my little nugget for today. Just something that was on my mind.
Even if the progression is a change, and a desired change, an intentional change,
Mhm.
if it's going to be one event, it's got to be a believable event to make that change, or else it's got to be gradual, and you don't see it until now I see it, and how they
Right.
get there. And because it can't be drastic, like you're saying, with the next chapter. I cleaned up from there. I'm different now. That was me.
Yeah.
I was
That was the old
older
me.
then. I'm younger than that now.
Yeah, old me was on my deathbed. New me, I'm on the beach in Tijuana. It's all good.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think if there was anything. Yeah, no, there's just been like so much going on that my brain's kind of full.
I had a Zoom call with one of our authors. Her book is in production.
Okay.
And you heard me talk about this process before where I edited it and she hired an editor.
Oh,
And we edited it again, and we edited what the editor shouldn't have changed, and we changed it back. Oh, but she kind of got panicked. Oh, she had gone through it in production. She had the PDF, the galley, and was in the final approval stages, and she caught some inconsistencies in the ellipses, which there's you can look it up and find the rules and follow the rules and make it right, or you can make it consistent, which is right. And we talked a little bit about consistency last week, but she called and there were some inconsistencies because in some places it was a period. In some places it was period, space, period, and you could tell, especially when it hit the same line. And he said it's just, it blares out at you like that. So we went through. I calmed her down and said, this is what you want is consistency. And I could have sworn we caught it the first time around, but somewhere somebody changed something. But even the ellipses within a sentence where it's treated as a word, with space, ellipses, space, next word, and so you treat it that way. And I've seen it now, and I've gone with as long as it's consistent, where there's no space, the ellipses or ellipsis, and no space to the next word. And I think consistency is the key for the reader to see it and say, well, that's the way you always do it. That's the way I've come to expect it, instead of having to go look it up. That's not right. It's not one of those references you want the reader to look up. But the consistency, and a lot of times she just had the dot instead of the dot space dot that she liked better. And so go with the one you like better, and we'll highlight it as a change for production. And they took it and changed it, so it wasn't anything to zoom in about necessarily, but we took care of her.
Well,
she didn't hire anybody new, at least.
Well, that is good.
Yeah, I'm calling that victory. That's victory.
That's a huge victory, yeah. Honestly, though, that your point about consistency, I mean, that's it. Like, period, end of story. We've had more authors who, like they went and read something else that used a different style and would contact me in a panic. Oh my God, I don't do it that way. I'm like, is it done consistently throughout it? Well, yeah, well then it's fine. Yeah. And, I have some who will, they will basically get themselves so worked up that everyone on the planet's going to notice this. It's completely wrong. It's completely unacceptable. And sometimes I just give in because I'm just like, I'm too tired to deal with you. Like, you're an energy sucker and I just can't do this right now. And other times, actually, sometimes I am able to talk and get them to understand, it's sometimes I'll even say, go back and look at some of your favorite books and see how each of them do it. Because guess what? They're all doing it differently, right? Whatever it may be. Yeah. But again, it's just being done consistently. So
that's the memoir I'm working on now. The old Volkswagen microbus had a pop top.
Okay.
Is pop top one word, a hyphenated word, or two words?
I'd have to look it up.
Hyphenated, but I don't know.
And I did look it up, and you can find it all three ways. So again, you've got to be consistent throughout.
Yeah.
And I think Volkswagen even capitalized Pop Top every now and then, but not always. But it's the Pop Top. And look up Volkswagen Pop Top. You'll know it's a Pop Top. It's a microbus, and they're really cool, and they're collector items. But this one isn't. This was real. It's real time. What did they say in the 70s when the story's taking place? Or how they spell it?
Actually, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've had to, not had to. I've been a judge for things where the dialogue used language that there's no way in hell that character would say something like that during that period of time.
Yeah.
And I was just surprised that the author, like, supposedly was, he did tons of research, but was not aware that this was not, like, contractions weren't used in the written language or in, verbal language in some cultures until quite recently. So it's like, you're writing characters in like 500 BC and you're having them use slang like ain't. No.
No.
No. So yeah, so there's some stuff that it's like absolutely, it's just do it consistently, and then there's other stuff that it's like you are so, even if you're trying to be ironic in doing things like that, it just completely pulls the reader out of the story, especially if they have any sense of how things were actually done. So wow, we only sorry, go ahead.
It's got to come across as real, and or not real, even if you're going to exaggerate it and have Aerosmith sing a song in The Knight's Tale, that's on purpose. You get it.
Yeah.
But that was there's a book called The Second Sleep, where it starts off and the writing makes you think it's in the 1500s, but it's not. It's in the future, but the world has reverted back to the lifestyle of the 1500s. And the first giveaway was the piece of electronics with an apple and a bite taken out of it. And then the reader says, oh, wait a minute. Where am I in time here? It's not the past, it's the future. And very subtly done. It wasn't explained. You just had to know. This is an artifact that's forbidden, and because it's got an apple with a bite taken out of it. Well, wait a minute, that's kind of biblical. Oh no, that's not biblical. That's a $1 billion company that's no longer around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually,
they all die in the end anyway. So,
well, as we all do. So,
start over.
Yeah. Well, we've only got like a minute and a half. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to close us with.
Well, just going back to the inconsistencies and whatnot, as an editor, if I see a small mistake like that in as I'm reading, I don't think anything of it. I love it. In fact, I love that it's there. It's human. I'm not judging. If I see something like that, oh, you missed one, you missed a spot, and it's published like that, it doesn't bother me. I mean, unless there's so many inconsistencies and it's so many typographical errors or whatnot that I'm really pulled out of the story. But every once in a while, I just go, oh, a human did this.
Cool.
I bristle if I see typos. I'm like, come on, you do this for a living.
I will bristle if it is a lot, if there's so many.
Right.
But yeah, once in a while I'm like, one got through.
I mentally fix it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Oh well, I guess with that, thank you guys. As always, you're all amazing, all fantastic. And anyone who's watching, if you're watching and you're watching the recording, go ahead and put your questions into the comments section, because we actually do check them throughout the week, and we will be more than happy to respond to them. So with that, thanks guys, and I will see you next week.